One thing about change is that you start to experience change and it happens over a period. For example, pregnancy. Somebody is pregnant today, but the pregnancy shows up in a period of time. I promise you, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years from now, the entire world will be a lot different from what we know it as today. But what does that mean for you? Like I said, the world has changed. And I can give you a few examples. Right now, the world is borderless. Somebody could be listening to this talk today from Abuja, from New York. Not because I am standing in New York, but because I have technology that can take me to New York. But that is not what I'm going to talk about today. What I'm going to talk about today is a change that affects each and every one of us. And I call that change the intelligent everybody. So right now, there can no longer be a fool in our presence. Everybody is smart. Everybody is intelligent. How is that possible? Because we have artificial intelligence. And what is artificial intelligence? Summarized into 3 superpowers. Number 1, speed. Things that can do things at an unbelievable amount of speed. Read a book, summarize it in a matter of seconds. What will take you weeks, days, months, you can do in literal seconds. 2, accuracy. Well, sometimes not so accurate, but accuracy nonetheless. 1 + 1 is always 2. You could get details and data about research done by people you don't know of, places you have never heard of, but all done accurately. And lastly, with all that speed and all that intelligence come powerful suggestions. So you are not blind. You could ask a question. So what do I do from here? What next step can I take? And things like that. Does that mean we do not have a problem? No. Every time technology comes in a new way, it brings a new problem with it. And amongst the host of many other problems that we have, I want to ask you a question. If AI is making everybody smarter, why do people feel a lot less smarter than before? Why do people feel like they do not know what they are saying if they are smarter than before? And the answer is simple. Everybody is relying on technology that is not their own. So everybody must consult an external source of intelligence that makes them look smart, sound smart, but in reality are not as smart as they are projecting themselves to be. For example, somebody greets you, good afternoon, and you are wondering what kind of response is, oh, good afternoon to you too, sir. I am so glad you asked about my afternoon. Should I respond to your good afternoon in Igbo? Would you like to know about my friends and family? And you are wondering, that can obviously not be the response to a simple good afternoon. The problem is that the answer is fabricated by an external source of intelligence that is not their own. So today, I'm actually speaking of the problem of an over-reliance on artificial intelligence. Today, we have a lot of people that cannot answer a question, cannot make a move, cannot build a thought until they consult that external source of intelligence. And before we move further, we must make a few major distinctions. 1, intelligence is not wisdom. For example, a spelling bee. You've never had a word like consciousness, but from your knowledge of other words, you can put together 1, 2, 3 and say consciousness is C-O-N and figure out the rest as you go. But because people are not building the strength of their intelligence, they can no longer make that kind of intuition. So we have essentially lost the vibe, the joy, and the greatness we used to enjoy from things like spelling bees. As a matter of fact, a lot of people here struggle with spellings themselves. These are people with PhDs. How do you struggle to spell artificial intelligence as a PhD holder in artificial intelligence? Is disturbing. Next, intelligence is not confidence. The pain it takes you to learn something actually builds an inherent confidence in you that allows for you to be able to stand your ground in the face of adversity, powered by the weight of the knowledge that you actually have. If you took a step to the library and read a book, the knowledge that you have because you walked to read the book and you actually learned the book by yourself actually gives you an extra confidence to allow you stand and defend the ideas that you got from that book. So Every time we skip the process, for example, pick a random topic from all the talks we have heard today. You could give a talk about any talk this evening. How? Artificial intelligence, with the same sounding as cool as we have done, sounding as professional as we sound, but the knowledge is not yours. So you cannot stand to defend it like I would, and you cannot be sure it is true like any other person who knew it for themselves would. And we, as human beings, if we must exist in this new dimension, we must possess something that puts us always above this external intelligence. Are we still with me? Now, as I have said, I have trained a lot of people, and after training over 1,000 people and building over 1 million AI frameworks in this country, Nigeria, I have come up with a system I call the expensive framework. Every human being to survive in the world of artificial intelligence must have 3 things. Number 1 is taste, and a unique nuance to know when something is bad, when something is very bad, when something is fair, when something is good, and when something is excellent. A simple example is an email. What does a good email look like? Now, if you've never written an email, you may have the tendency to want to have your first one from artificial intelligence, which is not a good idea. Every human being must first go through the field of what they want to do from the eyes and the perspective of a human being to first be able to determine what is good, what is fair, and what is bad. And that experience can be built in no other way than experience. So as a human being, you must put yourself through the pain of experience so you can be able to determine taste. 2 is judgment. Every human being must be able to make their decisions by themselves. When you have finished processing through that amount of data, when you have finished using AI for your anything you use it for, any conclusion you would arrive at, any step you will make, any move that will follow must be a constructive effort of your own mind. You must make that decision by yourself. Why is that? The answer to the question is because of the 3rd reason, accountability. Of course, we live in the real world. Everybody will be accountable for whatever it is that they do. However, when working with AI, we are forced to bring that thought of accountability to the forefront. For example, in the medical space, if you told somebody we would have to amputate your leg, and 2 years later that eventually is the wrong diagnosis, the weight of that decision does not fall on the intelligence that gave you that decision. It actually falls on you. Because I must remind you, AI cannot fail a course. AI cannot lose its job. AI cannot lose money. It is you that can suffer those consequences. So you must bring accountability first before anything you are doing with AI is sent out. Any document created with AI is sent out. Anything done, any research done is sent out. You must look at it from the point of accountability. So, my talk today is to preach the thought or the idea of the expensive human being who does not rely on cheap intelligence. The average cost of generative AI in the world today is $20 per month, which falls around 29 to 41,000 naira every month. But every human being must rise to the point where that level of intelligence cannot replace who they are and what they do. Because I must remind you, AI cannot replace anybody. As a matter of fact, technology cannot replace anybody. Down to the time of Jesus Christ, there have been doctors. Luke was a doctor, and doctors have continued to exist as technology has grown. But the Dr. Luke is different from the doctor we have today. So it is in your best interest to adopt this framework to improve your work, to improve your life, and to improve your systems. Ladies and gentlemen, be expensive. Thank you.